Hey guys, welcome back to another Flesh and Blood video. This video is proudly brought to you by the House of Cards, the official sponsor of my stream. Be sure to check out the link in the description below for all of your Flesh and Blood needs. Guardian vs Illusionist has pretty much been a staple of Flesh and Blood since its dawn. First we had Starvo vs Prism, then we had Oldhim vs Dromai. Now we have Victor vs Prism 2.0. The first time I heard somebody refer to Victor as Goldmane, I kind of laughed a little bit because I was like, man, I think everybody's like forgetting how good Oldhim was, but Victor has really impressed me so far. Victor is great at being defensive, using the block cards to like give advantage with his gold tokens, and you're just able to outvalue your opponent almost the entire game. The value that Victor gets on every single turn cycle is some of the best I've seen in Flesh and Blood. Although Victor gets a lot of value every turn cycle, Prism is very good at making sure you can get as little value as possible out of each of your hands, so you always have to stay on your toes against Prism because you never know what they could be up to. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope you enjoyed the match. Okay, so playing against Prism, I think what we're gonna do is, let's see. This will be for 4. This is basically looking like Spinal Crush if we keep this. I do like the idea of keeping E-Strike in Arsenal though. So I think what we'll do is pitch the Prime to fight. And let's see, they have Luminaris in, which is kind of interesting. We'll just pass and see what they do here. I'm just going to Arsenal the E-Strike and keep my cards here. I think E-Strike's a very good card at giving us go again and allowing us to have a solid hand next turn. I'm going to try and give Thunk here. I want to be able to give as many of my 6s as early as I can. Just to be able to... Giving 6s as early as I can and being able to keep my 8s for later in the game will hopefully let me play around these kind of cards. I honestly wasn't expecting my opponent to have one on turn 0, but I mean, I can't say that I'm totally surprised. Okay, so that and Angel's Wrath, huh? Okay, so they're really trying to put on pressure early here. All right. So they've already put us down to 33, which is like a pretty solid place to be for them, you know, being them. So we're going to pick go again here. We're going to come in with E-Strike for go again, representing that we have this into another attack here. Anothos would only be for 4 after this instead of for 6. Even if we pitch the E-Strike to activate Tectonic Plating here. But I think just going E-Strike is a pretty good play. We could go E-Strike into Hammer and then Arsenal the E-Strike to set up for next turn. I mean, they only have, like, our opponent can only have so many of these Celestial Reprimand cards that they can play. I imagine that even if they are on, like yellows and reds, I don't think there's any way they're playing blue. So we're probably just looking at 6 copies to play around here. I've played against a couple of Prisms who have, you know, they have reds or yellows. We'll kind of keep an eye out, but right now, in my mind, I'm going to be assuming they have 6 copies because yellow and red could be pretty good. Now, with that in mind, we do play, we play quite a few, you know, 8s, 10s, you know, like we play some like pretty high power stuff here. So it's not exactly like we have to... It's not exactly like we have to block with 6s every single turn. Okay, so they're going to throw Dreamweavers at us here. So they're automatically using Dreamweavers to come in, which is pretty interesting. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to give Thunk Buckling Blow and Tectonic Plating here to cover this up. And then whatever they come in with after this... We'll just make sure that we, you know, we have Disable and Thunderquake, which play around Poppers pretty well, or play around the debuff cards and allow us to use our Poppers pretty efficiently, which we really like to see here. If our opponent does give like if they do like throw another Herald at us, I'm gonna pop with the Thunderquake more than likely, and then we'll just throw Hammer for 4 here. So, I mean, let's just do this. We'll swing the Hammer for 4, and we'll hang on to the E-Strike for when we actually have a turn that can, like, try to gain us some tempo here. We could just come in for 7 and not have an Arsenal here and, like, be playing off of an Arsenal. Our opponent could be playing cards like Command and Conquer, so maybe throwing the E-Strike is better. Let's go with the E-Strike for 7 here and just try to play efficiently and make sure we can play our cards and we're not going to get like blown out by like by a random Command and Conquer. I don't know that our opponent's on Command and Conquer, but if they are, then like we're playing around it here this way. They have a Soul Shield they want to play. I mean, okay, they just go to 16. I think our Prism opponent realizes that with the Angel's Glow here, they have to, with the new Luminaris, they have to be doing every single thing they can here to like try and get tempo from us. And we're just going to do every single thing in our power to not let them get tempo from us. Okay, so they had a red and a yellow reprimand here. Okay, so that means that there's only 3 left in their deck. I even played the Righteous Cleansing so that I could play around them having the red one here, because it would have taken my Righteous Cleansing down to 6. But good news for us is that means there's only 3 left in the deck. So looking pretty solid for us in that aspect. Are they going to flip Erudition or Protection here? They're going to flip Erudition, because technically this will have Go again here. So I'm gonna block with the Clash of Might here. And we are gonna clash, but I mean there's actually somewhat like kind of a crazy chance here that we might lose. I don't know if... Oh, God, no clash is done because there were no attacking heroes. That is really interesting to note. It's good to keep that in mind for later. That when they attack with an angel, we don't technically get the clash. That's kind of neat. The spectral shields are basically just life for them in this game. Like, there's actually nothing here that like there's nothing that the spectral shields can do to attack us. It's just life that they're going to keep trying to preserve here. And as long as we're keeping the board clear and, you know, drawing some good hands with poppers here, we should be in a pretty good spot the longer this game goes on. Like, this hand is really good, but I'm probably going to look to arsenal my Zealous Belting here and try to set up like where I can keep 2 cards and go Zealous into Hammer. But if they do let us keep this hand, we can always pitch Righteous Cleansing to play the Zealous and then swing the Hammer. Kind of depends on what our hand looks like here. I think I'm just going to give the Debilitate because it plays around everything but a red reprimand here, and they have 2 red ones and a yellow one left. Is what I'm looking at them playing here. Like that's what I'm going to assume they're on. Let's go Zealous Belting for 5 go again, pitching the Righteous Cleansing. We're also getting to pitch we're getting to pitch poppers here. I just about said that backwards, but we're getting to pitch stack some poppers here so that we have some for the second cycle of the game, which is really important against Prism, because Prism is definitely like our opponent's looking to try and like run this game out over the course of like, you know, 15 turns if I had to guess. So making sure that we're putting poppers into our second cycle is very important here. Our opponent takes nothing here because they lose their Spectral Shield, and then we're going to swing the Hammer for 6. You'll see me over the course of this game, there'll be very few turns where I'm actually going to like arsenal cards that aren't like Zealous Belting or E-Strike or, you know, potentially even Rouse in certain situations. But, you know, like I'm going to be pitching a lot of my poppers because I want to pressure my opponent. Okay, so they're playing a lot of interesting cards here. So they're playing the like quote unquote reinforce the line card. So interesting. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just kind of intrigued by their decision here. So I could pop this with disable. And then I could throw the Thunderquake at them. Now we are putting 2 non-poppers back in the deck. I could alternatively just block 6 here since I don't need poppers, and then I could pitch the Thunderquake to make a Tectonic Plating and then Anothos them. I don't like putting 2 non-poppers together, but I do like the idea of being able to throw 10. And I think being able to throw 10 is good pressure for us, so I think we're gonna take the turn, like take our turn to like throw the Thunderquake here. And, you know, pitch stack a little poorly, but I've done a pretty good job at putting some poppers back into the deck at this point. So I think staying on this path of like putting pressure on and like putting 2 cards in here that don't pop, I think is okay. Like, I don't think we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot by getting to do that. And plus our 10 here probably takes at least 1 or 2 cards out of our opponent's hand. Now, they're not going to like, throw 3 cards at this here because this is just 10 vanilla damage. Like, there's no one hits here. There's no relevant like, oh my gosh, this is a blowout if it hits kind of thing. Like, this is just 10 vanilla damage here that we're throwing at our opponent. But when our opponent's already at 16, we've already reduced half of their life total here. I think that we can continue to try and put on pressure and, just try to force their hands to be a little awkward here. All right, so we've got our opponent down to 12. We have dealt 20 damage to them, and they have dealt 12 damage to us. So give up the Thunderquake to pop this here because it's for 8. They are playing blue Angelic Wrath, which makes me wonder if they're playing the blue Reprimands here as well. We could like we could like throw the hammer for 6 and arsenal this here, but we just have a hand that has Zealous go again into hammer, which I think is just good enough. Like, our opponent's on the back foot already pretty early in this game, so we're just gonna push the tempo here. We haven't clashed, we haven't done anything yet, we haven't really like used Victor's ability here, but our hands have just been, pop and put pressure on. And I think if your Prism opponent is just playing the new Luminaris, like if they don't have like a sideboard plan into like Auras and Iris, like I think they're in for a long day. Even with all of the Celestial Reprimands and things like that, like I think it's too hard for them to keep up with. Like I don't know. Like a lot of tempo has to go their way, in my opinion. All right, they just go to 1 and they keep their whole hand. So like pretty much anything, dominate, overpower, anything is like gonna do us some good here. We're just gonna be looking to like hammer the rest of the game and like try to keep the board clear, and like we don't have to find a lot of damage the rest of the game. We just have to play carefully. I like appreciate again what they're going for here, but like it's just not good enough. Like, this doesn't have Phantasm, but we're just gonna block and clash and hopefully win here. We have a Trounce and they have a Passing Mirage, so actually nothing happens here. That's kind of funny, honestly. Just kind of can't help but laugh a little bit there. And then I think what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna swing 9 here. Like, I'd really like to kill the Passing Mirage, but I think attacking for 9 and taking minimum 3 cards out of my opponent's hand is just way more important than killing the Passing Mirage. If we ever have a hand where we have a Zealous or a Rouse with Go Again, we can at that point throw some damage at our opponent and then kill the Passing Mirage. So there's no immediate threat for doing this here. Like, we just need to kind of stay the course and keep pushing pressure. Okay, well, they had a no block and they just gave up. Like, yeah, that was a really good turn cycle for us. Like, just getting those cards out of our opponent's hand here. Really good. Now, this hand is not great. Like, this hand's not very good. So, I think what we're going to do is pitch Chokeslam to activate Tectonic Plating. And then we're going to swing the hammer at the Passing Mirage. Just kill the Passing Mirage. We're going to arsenal the Zealous Belting. And then we're going to try to set up for a better hand next turn, where we can potentially go Zealous into something else. It's also worth noting our opponent does have the Figment to flip at any point if they need to. So this is Dominate. They did just pitch one of their red Reprimands that, like, we just saw that. And I haven't really been paying attention to their pitch stack the last couple of turns. I should have been, but I haven't. So we're now in a spot where, like, we know that there's 1 yellow and 1 red left, and we just kind of have to like play patiently and make sure that we're like, not getting blown out by anything. So this has Dominate, and they're giving our cards -1. So if we block with Spinal Crush, I'm technically playing around the last yellow version they could have. Are they trying to flip something here? Okay. So I'm gonna pop this with Spinal Crush because okay, I I don't really know what my opponent's trying to do here. Okay, so they're just trying to attack for 4, which is fine. Like they're not gonna make any spectral shields here. We're just gonna block 3 and take 1. I'm gonna save my Spinal Crush because we do have the -1 effect from the Figment of Triumph this turn. Okay, so we're gonna give the Spinal Crush. Our Seismic Surge pops here. I'm going to swing Zealous Belting at the Angel, or you know what? We might just be able to. Yeah, you know what? I think it's correct to kill the Angel here. Like I think we're playing a safer game this way. We're up on cards, we're up on life. Like we just need to stay the course and make sure that we're playing patiently. And I think this game is, you know, pretty much wrapped up here. Like it's just going to be grinding it out. I don't really know if our opponent realized they were blocking 5 or not there, but either way, we'll take the win there. So our Prism opponent had a couple of turns, you know, where they used Celestial Reprimand to like push through some on hits and get a couple of Figments out, but other than that, it was pretty much just business as usual for us. We were popping and throwing our attacks when we could. The truth is, when Prism plays into Guardian, I think if they're running the new Luminaris and not running an Iris and Aura package, this is pretty much what every game's going to look like. Guardian just gets to put on a clinic if Prism isn't prepared to play into the Guardian strategy. Guys, if you all see anything you think I could have done differently, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about it. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy, guys.